I'm Wendy Lord, Senior Blood Collecting Technician at the National Blood Collecting Center on Jimmins Lane. Here, we collect blood for the island and even overseas for persons having transfusion. Giving blood is important in that for the hospital itself, it cannot exist without blood. Persons that having surgery need blood. People that having chemotherapy need blood. If you're going to have a baby, you may also need blood because the tendency to bleed after more than one pregnancy exists. Persons having low blood count, they sometimes may need a transfusion. So giving blood is really important. And we consider the National Blood Collecting Center the heartbeat of the hospital. Without it, nothing can happen. There's no work in the lab if there's no blood coming through. So we consider ourselves very important to the hospital. And it is vital that persons give blood so that the blood bank would always have a good supply of blood so that if we have emergencies like car accidents, gunshot wounds, blood is always available for persons. Currently, the blood bank is fully stocked. We don't have shortages in none of the groups at present, and that is always a good thing to have. So we know there are varying blood types. So those blood types are A positive, A negative, B positive, B negative, O positive, O negative, AB positive, and AB negative. And we have the quantity that we have. We normally have a baseline, and we are double in most of those baselines. If there's a significant mass casualty in Barbados, and many persons are injured and have to be transfused, yes, that supply that we have can be wiped out. However, we do not leave our island to the whim and fancy of everything. We are on call every day. From the time work finishes at 4, we are on call till 8 o'clock the next morning. So we are always ready and able to answer the call. So here at the Blood Collecting Center, we find that many persons come only to give blood when their relatives gonna have surgery. We would really like that mentality to change and want people to just donate voluntarily. We would like to get to the stage where when you have a relative in the hospital, they can get their donation without anybody running from work, where they will be concerned about what is going to happen. Their blood pressure is high, and then it really puts persons under stress when they get the call from the hospital to go and give blood for their relatives. So even though we don't have a lot of satellite places, we are always willing to help persons and change some of our time sometimes to accommodate people who are willing to just come and give for the blood bank. So when persons come here to give for their relatives, we encourage them to come back, especially when they realize that the process is not a difficult one. We find in Barbados many people are afraid of needles. Why they're afraid, some people don't even know. But other persons may have had bad experiences as children when they got their vaccines and all that. So we try to allay their fears and have them comfortable. And by the time they're finished the donation, they're asking us when they can come back. And you can come back 3 months after your first donation. We do have persons that give blood regularly. Our top donor, he has already given 129 units of blood, and he started when he was 18 years, when one of his students at Harrison College got in an accident, and the principal encouraged them to go. It was also a way to get away from school. So for that period, they would come every 3 months, and he continued up to this day. So we should be seeing him anytime soon to give his 130th unit. So you do not have to come maybe every 3 months, but as our top donor would say, make it on your birthday and maybe at Christmas, some special time that is significant to you, you can come and do blood. You can start your birthday, which is once a year, and then as you get more time, you can increase that. So you can give blood 4 times a year. Since the advent of COVID, we had to introduce appointment system. That is somehow phasing out now because we are somewhat back to normalcy. But you can still call and make an appointment, or you can just turn up to the Blood Collecting Center between 8 and 3, Monday to Friday, or 8 and 11:30 on Saturday. So when you come into the center, you're greeted, your temperature is taken, and we ask your name and who you're giving the blood for. Then you have a seat in the waiting area. You're called into the reception area. And there you have an interview where we ask you a few questions. And then we take a finger stick from you to make sure your hemoglobin is good, because we cannot take blood from you if you're anemic. So after that process is done, you come into the donors area where we have some couches. You lay down. It's all AC in here. You lay down. We take your blood pressure. Once everything is settled and you're comfortable and stable, we proceed to do the venipuncture, where we would find the correct vein or the better vein on both hands. So you may find that the technician may strap both arms to make sure we have the better vein. And once you're comfortable and settled, we clean the area with some betadine. Then we go into the vein as quickly and painlessly as possible. And you are encouraged to squeeze the ball throughout the process. The process lasts about 5 to 7 minutes. After that, we clamp it off. We take a sample, called all blood going to the hospital has to be accompanied by a sample, where we will do things like your HIV, hepatitis B, and those things. We also do your blood group, so it's also a good way of getting your blood group. You do not get it at the same time. You come back a couple days or a week after, and we always have the blood group here. So after the donation, you get to rest for about 10 minutes, and we also give you a snack. The snack can vary. So you can get some juice and crackers, but if you're having a special occasion, you get juice, you get cake, you get sandwiches, and you may get some chicken wings or something on a special occasion. So sometimes we partner with companies who are willing to give us donations. We are also open to companies who can assure us that they have about 15 persons to donate, and we will set aside part of our day or a Saturday for them to come down and do the same thing. And that unit, those blood will be accredited to this particular company. So in their advertising and whatever they're doing, they can say that is something that they do to help the country of Barbados. So we encourage people to do that. We would like to go out, but we have a small staff complement. There are only 4 of us. So if we go out, we'll take 2 persons and we leave 2 here. But sometimes we get so very hectic here that we rather have you come here on a particular day that we will schedule for you. And we encourage companies to do that also.
Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Danielle Reed Malilo, and I'm a general physician. And today we're going to talk about exercise for obesity prevention. Exercise is important for your overall cardiovascular health, and it's excellent for obesity and overweight prevention. I'd like you to aim for at least 4 days of exercise per week, and this exercise should consist of resistance training and aerobic exercise. You also want to have an exercise that you enjoy, and this will help you to stay consistent. Some examples of exercise could be walking your dog, walking with friends, swimming, or exercising at the gym with your trainer or with a group of friends. Exercise is also great for mental health and for stress relief.
I am Angela Taylor, Chief Electoral Officer. Just want to remind the public that we continue registration services here at our Warrens Tower 2 location every day, Monday to Friday, from 8:30 until 4:30. We are both providing registration services and card collection services. We do have quite a number of cards still to be collected, and I wish to encourage persons who have not yet collected to do so. Those of you who haven't registered as yet, please visit us. Additionally, the pinning service will be offered at 14 of the post offices, as well as from the 4 bus terminals. I want to encourage persons 65 years and over who are allowed to ride free on the bus to pin your Trident ID card so that you have a smooth tap and go experience as you enter the bus. I want to assure members of the public that the pinning process is a very simple one. It takes less than 2 minutes. We've had many questions about why pinning is necessary. As we roll out services, when you do business in the public or private sector, you may be required to give your address. The only way they can access that address is if you enter your PIN. So you use your PIN to access your address or other private information that is on the chip of the card.
Hi, my name is Senator Shanika Roberts-Odle. I'm currently the acting CEO of the Barbados Medicinal Cannabis Licensing Authority. Long name. We call it the BMCLA. I'm here to talk to you today about a closed loop system. What that really means is our licensees are really only allowed to sell to other licensees, except in a few very specific areas. Now, a cultivator can sell to any other licensee within the grouping. A processor can really sell to any other licensee, but they can also sell to a pharmacist or a pharmacy and to pharmaceutical distributors. Import and export. The names are kind of self-explanatory. Now, an importer can sell to any other licensee, but an exporter is really and truly for the purpose of selling outside of Barbados. We also have R&D and lab. Now, these are fairly capital-intensive licenses, so they are allowed to sell to any other licensee, but they're also given an export license that allows them to sell outside of Barbados. Retail distributor is a very special license. It allows you to open up a therapeutic facility. Now, that particular licensee is allowed to sell to other licensees, yes, but their purpose is really for the purpose of allowing the public to be able to enter their facility and make use of the products produced within the industry. And finally, transport licensee. Now, a transport licensee doesn't really sell a good, they sell services. And therefore, a transport licensee allows other licensees to move their goods from one point to another.
For more information, visit our website at www.bmcla.bb.
So once you're between the ages of 18 and 70 and in good health, you're eligible to give blood. We know some persons would be omitted in terms of those that obviously have people that have SLE, lupus, and those things, they're not allowed to give. If you have sickle cell or a sickle cell trait, you cannot give. For obvious reasons, if you have HIV, you cannot give blood. If you are presently coughing and spluttering with your sinuses or a cold, you cannot give blood. We prefer to delay you for about 2 weeks. We know the common cold lasts for about 14 days, so we prefer to delay you. So someone may come in and we will ask them, one of the questions on the paper is if you have a sore throat. So if you have a sore throat, something can be coming on, so we're not going to take blood. I mean, some people may want to, and that is one of the things we're trying to stop people from doing. Because your relative is ill, you don't care what condition you're in, you want to give the blood, which is okay. But we are here to collect safe blood for not only your relatives, but for all of Barbados. So we would like people to understand that if you're deferred for a period, it is not because we don't want to take your blood. Because we want to take blood from everybody that comes through here, but everybody does not qualify. And that is one of the reasons that we would not offer a cash voucher or money to someone to give blood, because it means that anybody could come in and take the blood. What we have to also remember is a cost to the country. So you come here, we give the blood, we do not give that blood directly to a person. That blood has to go over to the lab and it has to be tested. So there's reagent that we'll be using that obviously you know that you are not in a condition to give blood, but you just want to give it, and we would not do that. So some persons may be angry with us. Some people may talk about us on the radio, but that is okay. But we are here to give safe blood, and we will not put you yourself at a disadvantage because you want to give blood. There are some other restrictions that you should know. So for example, your weight has to be 110 pounds and over. We know that the Each person has about 9 to 12 points of blood in their body. So if you are underweight, you can understand that maybe you have less to give. If you have been to the dentist to have extraction, for at least 72 hours have to pass before you are allowed to give blood. If you go and get a cleaning, we prefer you to come here and then go and get the cleaning, because sometimes you get deep cleaning. What we are trying to avoid is anything that comes in contact with your blood, we are not able to take for a particular period. So we have people that have tattoos, any tattoos or ear piercing puts you off for a year. We know that it comes in contact with your blood. People will say dry needling should have a shorter stay. We can say that if we had persons that are certified, but in Barbados we don't have certified people that give that we know that give tattoos or anything, so we have to defer you for the year. If you go to the physiotherapist, you get those acupuncture, we know that it comes in contact with your blood. And not only that, I'm telling you because we want to say that. I also experienced it myself, where I went to the physiotherapist for my shoulder, and the next morning I saw like a bruising, and I'm like, where did you get this from? I didn't even remember that. And she said, yes, Wendy, it comes in contact with your blood. So when people go and say they just had dry needling and we can take it, we can't, because we are trying to have safe blood for the people of Barbados. So in preparation to come to give blood, we will prefer if persons increase their fluids like a day or two before, as well as the morning you're coming, you're advised to eat a proper meal. So if you're coming to give blood at 8 o'clock, at 7 o'clock, you can have a full breakfast. And a full breakfast is not only 2 biscuits and some tea, that is not enough. You need to get some protein and things like that. If you're coming at lunchtime, we prefer you to have your lunch before. Some people come and say, I'm going to have my lunch after. We do not want that. We want you to have your lunch before and then come. You have to remember that oxygen goes around in the blood, and you're giving 450 milliliters, so you may tend to feel a little lightheaded, and we try to discourage that. So what we may do sometimes, if you came and you just had something slight, we may ask you to go and eat. It is not the best thing to go and eat, especially you go and eat a hot dog that some people say, we are not accustomed to hot dogs, but because it is just there, you go and get it, and then when you come here, you may not feel too well after. Because you can well imagine that the nutrition has not, the body has not assimilated the food, digested the food yet. So you're not able to give the blood as effectively and feel as good as you should after. When you give blood, after you give the blood, you should feel the same way or better than you came. Well, as I said before, we have different blood types. And because I'm your parent does not necessarily mean I have your blood type. So most persons give a replacement. Replacement is like you give a unit and your person get their unit. I may be A positive and you may be A positive, but there are other intricacies that the blood is tested for. So we have to do a compatibility issue. So therefore, your mother may not get your particular blood. If you have a mother and a baby, we may be able to put a directed donation to that person, especially if the baby is very young. But other than that, most blood is replacement. You also have autologous. So if you're having surgery and you want to give your own blood, the doctor will send a letter telling us that you're having surgery on such and such a date and that you're willing to give, or you should be able to give 1 or 2. So if you're giving 1 unit or 2 units, or you can give up to 4 units for yourself. So you have patients that have heart surgery that they are allowed to give their units for themselves so that they get back their own blood. But after you give your unit for yourself, you have to have a space of a week before your procedure. So you have replacement, which is me giving for you. You can have directed, mother to child. You have autologous, and you have voluntary. So the people that just come in and give is voluntary. So there are 4 types of donations that happen here. So we have people from the Caribbean coming here. We know a lot of people come from, so sometimes they may come with their own units, right? So we have to find a way of putting them into our system. So they have to get a number. And so another thing about giving blood is that you have your own unique number. So we can trace the blood from you right up to transfusion. So if there's a discrepancy, we know that you have a doctor that can contact you and guide you through whatever process needs to be guided. As I said, the blood is tested for HIV, hepatitis B and C, syphilis, and we have something called HTLV1, which is a precursor to the blood cancers. So if any of that is found, we liaise back, not blood collecting, the doctor in charge will liaise back with the patient so that we can follow through and we do not have no discrepancies. All persons shall come to give blood. One, not only that it is easy, but it is a way of giving back to the country. It is a way of making sure that your blood bank is always full, because me or you, we do not know what is going to happen. We are on the road, we have relatives on the road, and we do not know when the unfortunate situation will come. And it is not only an accident. You can be going along. I hear a lot of people say, I'm anemic, but you don't know the cause of your anemia. And the sun is so hot now, you may just faint out and you may have to go to the hospital. You want to know that if you have to be transfused, that blood is there to give you in a timely manner so that you can live to tell the tale and to also encourage others to do it.